Welcome back on Market Headline. The Financial Services Authority, OJK, decided to extend the relaxation period for banking credit restructuring for 1 year, from March 2022 to March 2023. OJK explained that the decision was taken to continue to maintain the momentum of accelerating national economic recovery and banking stability, as well as debtor performance, which has begun to improve. The Financial Services Authority, or OJK, decided to extend the relaxation period for banking credit restructuring for 1 year, from March 31, 2022 to March 2023. This extended relaxation of credit restructuring also applies to rural banks and Sharia rural banks. Chairman of the OJK Board of Commissioners, Wimbo Santoso, explained that the decision was taken to continue to maintain the momentum of accelerating national economic recovery and banking stability, as well as the performance of debtors, which had begun to improve. Until now, banks have continued to improve their performance, such as positive credit growth starting in June, and the loan at risk figure, which showed a downward trend but was still relatively high. Meanwhile, the non-performing loan rate slightly increased from 3.06% in December 2020 to 3.35% in July 2021. IDX Channel reports. Yes, the credit restructuring policy was officially extended. So what things need to be considered in this policy? And what's the response from banks and business actors? Let's explore it in the following infographics. We're moving on to the first graphic. In the first graphic, we can see the application of risk management in restructuring relaxation, the criteria for restructuring debtors who are eligible for an extension, adequacy of allowance for impairment losses, prerequisites for dividend distribution, stress testing the impact of restructuring on the bank's capital and liquidity. The criteria or application of risk management is taken from the Financial Services Authority. And the Chief Executive of OJK Banking Supervision, Heru Kristiana, said the extension of the relaxation of credit restructuring is part of a counter-cyclical policy and is one of the driving factors needed to support the performance of debtors, banks, and the economy in general. Until now, banks have continued to improve their performance, such as positive credit growth starting in June and the loan at risk figure, which showed a downward trend but was still relatively high. Meanwhile, the number of non-performing loans increased slightly from 3.06% to 3.35% in July 2021. And then what about the realization of bank credit restructuring so far? The data is in the next graphic. So the bank credit restructuring per June 30, 2021, restructuring value 791.93 trillion rupiah, with number of debtors 5.03 million. And the debtor category consists of MSMEs and non-MSMEs. The data is taken from Financial Services Authority, or OJK. As many as 3.55 million debtors are MSME debtors, with a total debt balance of 290.56 trillion rupiah. Meanwhile, non-MSMEs amounted to 501.37 trillion rupiah, or 63.31%. By looking at these conditions, the banks must be able to manage risk properly and maintain healthy conditions so that they can continue to contribute to the economy. OJK, as a regulator, will of course continue to keep the banking industry growing healthy and able to face various challenges in the pandemic era. With the extension of the credit restructuring policy, what is the response from banks in Indonesia? Let's see it in the next graphic. So the first response from Bank Negara Indonesia, or BNI, David Pirzada, Risk Management Director of BNI, stated that we hope that the Indonesian economy will continue to grow along with the vaccination program, and the extension of the credit restructuring stimulus will be able to provide enough space and time for the business world to recover. So BNI's Corporate Secretary Muharram said that the extension of the restructuring relaxation could help BNI to continue to maintain the performance of the debtors' COVID restructuring, which had improved, of course. And furthermore, BNI will continue to improve credit quality through improved risk management and initiatives to maintain the quality of restructured loans. And similarly, Bank Mandiri welcomes the decision to extend credit restructuring, where as of July 2021, Bank Mandiri's total loan restructuring has reached 92.55 trillion rupiah. This position has decreased compared to the previous period, which is said in line with the economic recovery. And on the other hand, how do business actors respond to this? Let's move on to the next graphic. So we can see the response from the business actors presented by Sarman Simanjorang, Deputy Chairperson of Kadin for Regional Autonomy Development. So he said that in such condition, the government must be present to ease the burden on business actors, one of which is the extension of this credit restructuring stimulus. This policy will certainly be a driving force to improve the performance of debtors and banks, as well as part of accelerating the national economic recovery. And the decision to extend the restructuring relaxation is expected to give business actors the flexibility to regulate cash flow so that it can manage cash flow according to the priority scale to survive. Business actors hope that in the fields, this relaxation extension can actually be implemented. Do not let it turn out that there are separate rules in each bank that make policies ineffective. And hopefully this credit restructuring policy can provide certainty for banks and business actors in preparing a business plan for 2022. And market headlines will be right back with coverage from Capital Market. Stay tuned.